Now let's see why we have to go through this process. I want you to turn to page 5.5. Let's look at our example here, and we have a series of boxes on page 5.5 that tracks certain cost components. Beginning with the first one, find the box that says finished product, labor, materials. Do you see that? We're just talking about direct labor and raw materials there. Okay? What was our cost per item to produce one good? I mean, of labor and materials. $1,000 a piece, right? So put $1,000 in that first box. Okay? Now, if we sell these items for $1,500, would that be good? We don't know yet. Because there are other costs, right? So we have to look at the next cost component. The cost that would go away if someone else manufactured it. And to get that, we're going to take the total manufacturing expense, and you find that it's $9,900, okay? And we're going to divide that by the 16.5 units that we produced. Which is how much? $600 per unit. So let's write $600 in that next box. So if we had sold it for $1,500, would that have been a mistake?
Yes.
Yeah, because what's our total manufacturing cost so far? $1,600. Okay, should we sell it for $1,900? We don't know yet, because there are other costs. The only thing that $1,600 tells us is if someone approaches us and says, I can manufacture that same item and have it on your front doorstep with equal quality, everything else remaining the same, I can provide it for you for $1,300. Should we consider that? Yes, because each of those $1,600 items will go away. The cost of all that $1,600 will go away, right? Mm-hmm. If someone else produces it for us. But the other costs won't. So that's the reason why we had to divide manufacturing expense and overhead expense, was to see what our true manufacturing cost was. Now, it doesn't mean we need to take that $1,300 and close out the factory and go with it. Why not?
Because it just might be easier on us. We would
to keep doing it? And we can't guarantee that they're going to do what they say they do, right? Whereas we can guarantee that we can do it, okay? Freight and other things. So we have to consider all those factors, right? In determining that, okay? So we can't, that may or may not be a good offer. We'll just have to look into it and figure it out, okay? Now, the next category. These are our overhead expenses. And to do that, we're going to take the overhead expense, which is $7,500, and we're going to divide that by the number of items sold. Now, how many items did we sell in this example back here?
16.
No, we produced 16.5. How many? We sold 15. Remember, the other 1.5 units were still sitting on the assembly line. So we only produced 15 items, so 7,500 divided by 15 is how much? $500. Okay. Now, when you add that component into the $1,600, you get what's called our fully burdened manufacturing cost. And what's our fully burdened manufacturing cost now? $2,100. So should we sell it for $2,100?
No, we wouldn't make any.
We wouldn't make any profit. And if you don't make any profit, you can't grow your business. You can't expand. You can't do the other things you want to do. So we're going to have to determine how much profit we want to make. Now, what if we want to make $900 profit?
Then we need to sell it for $3,000.
Very good. So let's put $900 in the profit. Put your selling price at $3,000. Okay? So we're going to need to sell it for $3,000 to do all that. Now, what if your competition is selling it for $3,500? The same type of thing. Are you in pretty good shape?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're in good shape. What if the competition is selling it for $2,700?
Then you got to.
Okay. So if we're going to try to sell it for $300 more, we need to be able to justify through maybe variety or service or quality or something, we need to be able to justify charging more for it. And if we do that, can we sell it for more?
Yes.
Yeah, then it's all right. What if we have a hard time justifying its quality? Then what other options do we have?
Uniqueness.
We can lower the price. We could take less of a profit. We could say, well, I'm happy with $600 a piece. Okay, what else could we do? But if we can't justify that price, then we're going to have to either lower the profit or figure out where we can save some money on the process, right?
Right.
And evaluate. And we have three components to work with. We have the original or the direct costs, right? That first box. We have the manufacturing costs we could tweak and change, or we have overhead. Any one of those components, if we can lower the cost, either one of them or all three of them total, we will be able to reduce the cost and still make the $900 profit. Okay? So that's the process we use in manufacturing. You know, it's not as difficult with the retail process because you buy them already completed, right? You don't have to worry about the process of completing them. You buy them done. And when you put them on the shelf and then you sell them, it's a very simple, relatively stated, process of accounting. But when you have to track it through the whole manufacturing process, it adds some complications to it. Okay? Yes?
How did you,
June?
I got lost a while back. How did you come up with the $900 profit? You know, was that just something
Off the top of the
Off the top of my head, but that's a good question, Jude. How would you do that? Well, what you do is you look at the owner, the boss, whatever, would look at what do I want to do with this business in the future? Well, how do I want to expand it? What are my plans for the future? Well, if in 2 or 3 years I want to double my production, I'm probably going to need a larger facility, right? So when I get a larger facility, I'm probably going to want to buy that facility or have it built, in fact, to fit my needs. I'm going to need X amount of money to build that. Well, in order to have that money available in 2 years, I'm going to have to make this much profit so that it's available when I need it. Okay? So we're going to look at a number of factors in developing that, and that may be one of them. We'll also look at just, you know, if we're proprietorship, our salary as a proprietor or the amount of money we draw out of the business doesn't impact earnings, does it? It doesn't reduce earnings because we're not an employee. So we've got to have enough profit in there per item to be able to pay ourselves what we feel like we need to make this worth it. Okay? So there's different ways to come up with that. Okay.
Complete Learning Activity 5.1 found on page 5.6. In this exercise, you'll progress the inventory costs for Widget Manufacturing Company for January through March using the information found in the table at the top of the page. Begin by writing $5,000 in the space provided for the raw materials starting inventory. Then, using the information in the January column, complete all 4 inventory worksheets. Once completed with January, follow the same process for February, using the January ending inventories to represent the February starting inventories. Finally, complete the March inventory worksheet. You can check your answers on page A.42 of the appendix, then start the tape again for a brief review.